Welcome back. I do hope you enjoyed our brief intermission. So I promised more, here's more. One of my very favorites from way back when. A little number called School Mom. This one, very, very much diversified. And you can see how much more broken down it is than just the four bigs. So here's what we got. We'll start with music. 3 levels therein. So, to play notes, press any of the keys. As you can see, it's geared toward the key of C major. So we'll do it this way. Put a little sneaky and jump the octave on you. So let's see what happens down at the bottom. It's off the scale, as you can see. That's it. Won't reach any higher. Those of you capable of hearing and detecting all of those notes, great. Good for you. You can skip a note with the spacebar. If you heard that 6B, you must. Congratulations. So this one doesn't really delve into sharps or flats on this level. If you wanted to, you can go up to another level. Let's see what level 2 is. Yep, so we've got concise instructions on the right now with a much fuller sheet. And you can even play with durations here. And it just goes down to the 16ths. That would probably have been better ended with a whole note, but that's okay. So we can get songs that have been preloaded in here, or we can save the songs from this level upward. So what's available to us? Let's see. To what are you referring, Uguay? Alright, so we can't actually deal with sharps and flats on this level. That's probably the bump up to level 3. You know what? Let's take a look at that now. Alright. Yep, sharp and flat controls, plus or minus. Oh, fascinating. Can't say that I picked that one up. Let's take a look at what else we have. That was tune 1. Mary Had a Little Lamb, and absolutely no syncopation. Oh my god, the lack of rhythm annoys me so much. Well, Row, Row, Row Your Boat is done with a triple beat, so I can sort of forgive not being able to accomplish that. But you can at the very least use eighth notes to do it. Sort of like this. Yeah, this is where you'd really get that primer there. This is an incredibly archaic way to write music. You know, in adult hindsight, that's a very fine reason. I actually used to play trombone myself up until very recently. Combination of the fact that I was losing heart long before COVID, and COVID kind of pushed me over. Other projects came to higher interest to me, so I decided to redevote my time. Yeah, although I will say early on it was a lot of fun. I guess another big part of it was there came a point where music just wasn't going to be my career, so all of a sudden it wasn't as important to me anymore. I still love the band that I was with. I still plan to go to their performances, but as far as playing and being on stage and in spotlight, I'm done. Rather be behind the scenes. But anyhow, where are we? And I don't think I can tie notes either, or do anything dotted. Yeah, let's do something cheeky and hateful. Satisfied. What's the fourth? Right. I've had enough of that. Moving on to art. So this one is mouse geared. So you can lift the pen by holding down left. Change colors with right. Neat. How's the spider web design look? Alright, so it's moving on its own and I'm kind of driving it here from the top-down perspective as opposed to the driver's perspective. So like I can turn it up or right or from here down. You can change the color of the thread by holding down C or just tapping it. And it looks like we can increase the rate of speed. Or decrease the rate of speed. A space tunnel. Oh my. We can increase the size. Alrighty. Enjoy your night or day if I don't see you. Thanks for coming. Alright, let's reduce. And a space worm. So I can increase the rate of color change. Alright, just a heads up to any of you folks that might be epileptic. Turn away right now. Check out that rendering. Intergalactic explosion. Now watch the effect when I reduce. Look at the bottom right. Watch that rainbow squeeze its way in. Isn't it pretty? And Space Ribbon just looks like a thinner version. Yep, it's a skinnier version of the worm. Spelling. You can cycle through the alphabet, matching the lowercase letter with the uppercase above. And it just goes in alphabetical order, so that's interesting. Thought you'd get points or get music at some point. Maybe on this one it's at the end of the alphabet. Oh, sound was off, that's why. Alright, let's try that again. I believe it's every 100, provided sound is on. Make a mistake, you'll be alerted. Won't affect when you hear music, though. Random words. Memorize and spell. English is fun in this one because for each level there is a distinct game. Level 1's fun. There's no wrong answer here. You can just pick and you'll form a silly sentence, most likely. My noisy turkey flies vigorously. In a very Donald Trump-like manner of speaking. Let's do one more. I want to see if we can do anything funny. Alright, that's pretty funny. I loved the leg. The hard leg loved the ox. Your ox loved the leg. Phenomenal. Level 2's game has a bonus timer. What you have to do is get the words up there through the bullet storm in their correct position. I could score if I slowed down the frame rate, but I'm not really interested. Level 3. First, we'll explain sentence structure. Secretary called me a taxi. Subject, verb, indirect object, direct object. Subject, verb, subjective. Ah. So obviously to succeed at that level it bears further reading. More explanation on level 4. Proper grammar. In many ways, I think easier than level 3. Only one was found. Mumps and measles are singular as nouns. How about some math? And take a look at this. The first 3, more or less, are games. There we go. So it looks like you get points based on the rate of fire, or the rate of speed. Bug numbers gives you places. How many big bugs? Ones. Groups of 10, 2. Groups of 100, 9. Now, does anybody remember those place value blocks as kids where you had the one teeny little cube that represented 1, the rods to represent 10, the tiles to represent 100, and the big cube that represents 1,000? Because I was always fascinated with math toys. Hard to explain why, but I was. Boy, he really wants that apple, huh? Apple spider. So this is interesting. Watch the bottom row. You get more moves by answering correctly. You just have to stay away from him. And that's what happens if you lose. Which you eventually will. Although I wonder. Do you win if you get to 100 first, before he gets you? Boy, he moves too quick. Well, times tables. Oh, no, you don't think I'm actually going to sit here and go through this that many times, do you? That's the idea. Addition at level 1. Count stars that do not blink. Well, now that just gives it away, doesn't it? At level 2, you no longer have the stars to guide you. Level 3, You've got bigger numbers, and they'll guide you through one at a time. Let's get one with a carry. There you go. Represented well. Level 4, now you're playing with decimals. Which honestly does not really amount to anything different. Subtraction. Level 1, now the blinking actually matters. Just look to the right, that's the trick. Level 2, I assume the stars will not be there to guide. And they're not. Level 3, yep, you guessed it, double digits. So here's how they demonstrate borrowing. Level 4, you guessed it, decimals. Multiplication, let's see how that goes. Again, you've got stars to guide you down at the bottom. Level 2, you don't. Level 3, double digits, and they'll guide you through all the functions. Pay attention now. 2 by 6, and you add the carry. So let's see that again. First, you multiply by the ones place. Ones place by ones place. Then you multiply the top tens by the bottom ones. So that'll be a 12 in front of that 0. Now, bottom tens by top ones. Basically, you're crossing every combination of digits in order to get here. So it's another 0. Yeah, so you pop a 0 down there first because now you're getting into the tens. Whatever is the bottom number is your operative place here. So if the bottom is flashing the tens place, that's what you're dealing with for the final product. So now it's addition after that. One more time, step by step. Well, this isn't the best example for it, but... Oh, here's a juicy one. Okay, so we're dealing with the ones first, represented by the 7. So 9 times 7 is 63. So the 3 will be the operative digit that goes under, and then 6 will be carried up when we multiply by the top tens place. So 2 by 7 is 14, and then you add the 6 for 20, and that goes in front of the 3 there to make 203, which is 29 by 7. So now you notice the 0 pop in under that number. That means we're now dealing with how many tens we're putting in here. So that's going to amount to 9 times 1 equals 10, or equals 9 for the tens place. And then 2 by 1, basically 20 by 10 gets you 200 for the hundreds place. Now we add 3 and 0, 0 and 9, 4 and 4. And that's pretty much multiplication by any number of digits. And once again, if you want to play with decimals, it's really no different there. Just math it all out the same way. And you also will have to shift the decimal place over by however many places you have combined up there. So each number you're multiplying by has one decimal place. So the final product is going to have 2. This is going to end up being 1.8. Now let's get complex. Division. As the stars have guided you up to this point. No stars. Now, let's see how big division works. This time we're playing with a bracket. 9 does not go into 8 at all. So that being known, tack the 1 on. 9 goes into 81 9 times. Let's get a better example. 10 goes into 12 once, leaving a 2 behind. But watch this subtraction first. Here's how you get that 2. The 0 drops down. 10 goes into 20 twice. This is where your mnemonics come in most handy. So 19 over 1 is 19. You're left with 15 if you take it off 34. The 2 drops, and that is 8 19s. So 22 goes into 37 how many times? Once. And that's why the 1 goes up there. 22 times 1 is 22. Take it off 37, you got 15. The 4 comes down, and that is 7 22s. That is the crux of long division. Now then, level 4, you're doing the same with decimals, which again, 9 doesn't go into 3. Goes into 36 how many times? So ignoring the decimal place, you can pop it back in after you calculate. And there you go. That's the only difference. Algebra. So, algebra is a series of arithmetic that gets you to solve for a letter. Level 1 looks like simple, where you're only dealing with one letter and the order of operations. Order of operations being parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, or PEMDAS. So there's something in parentheses. 1 plus 1 is 2. There are no exponents. There is a multiplication. 3 times 2 is 6. That's how you get there. So, parentheses, skip or no exponents, multiplication, done. Now, they don't actually need the parentheses for this because multiplication would come before addition anyway. But for all intents and purposes, parentheses, there's a multiplication within. No exponents, no multiplication, no division, addition, done. All right, let's move up. Level 2. So now we have to play with it where the letter is not by itself. It has other things, which means we need to do opposing functions to get the letter by itself. So first, let's make it as simple as possible by resolving everything that's with the letter. Parentheses, 7 by 8, 56. So now, in order to get rid of a positive 56, you have to subtract it to null it out. So now you do the same on the other side. 64 minus 56 leaves 8. Same thing again. We have an addition inside parentheses. So now it's y times 9, which means we need to divide that 9 off to neutralize it. Same on the other side. 45 over 9 leaves 5. That's level 2. Level 3, now we deal with fractions. Least common denominator. What that means, let me think. All right, so basically what least common denominator is the lowest denominator for which both of these denominators is a factor. So 4 and 3, the lowest I can think of off the top of my head is that both are factors of 12. So you think 4, 8, 12. And then on the other side, you think 3, 6, 9, 12. So here's what you have to do with that. You have to multiply the 3 by something, and you have to multiply the 1 by something. So in order to get to 12, you have to multiply the 4 by 3. So you're going to have to do the same thing with the numerator above. So that's 12, that's the least common denominator, 12, divided by the denominator you have, which is 4, is 3. That's what you multiply the numerator 3 by to convert 3 over 4 into 9 over 12, which is the same thing. And do the same on the other side. 12 over 3 gets you 4. Then you multiply the 4 by 1 to get that. So your 3 by 3 becomes 9. Your 1 by 4 becomes 4. And now that you have been able to combine using a least common denominator, you can simply subtract the two numerators and wind up with 5/12. So 9/12 over or minus 4/12 gets you 5/12. And that's how you do that. Once again. So this one's a little simpler. Think on the lower number first. 2, 4, and as it happens, 2 by 2 gets you the denominator you have on the other side. So the least common denominator is not 8, but 4. Now, an easy trick to start with is finding what is the highest thing the least common denominator can be. And that would be simply multiplying your two denominators. But that's not always so. So you have to look downward from that and see if there are common factors deeper down. So we had to multiply by 2 to get that 2 to 4. And we didn't need any multiplication at all, so we just say 1, which anything multiplied by 1 is itself. So 2 by 2, 1 by 1. 4/4, which is a whole, minus 1/4, leaves you with 3/4. And that's that. So now, the y was by itself on level 3. That's not the case on level 4, which is going to make this a little more complex. So first you want to find the least common denominator among everything. So, 9, 18. There's still hope that it's 18. As a matter of fact, that's the highest thing it could possibly be, and now, since that's there, the only thing it could be. So, 9, 18 gets you there on 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So multiply by 2, or 2 9s get you 18. 9 2s get you 18. So the letter just multiplies by the number, which becomes the coefficient. So y times 2 is simply 2y for the time being. And 8 by 9, we can just multiply to be 72. So the next step to make it a straight, simple formula would be to multiply both sides by 18, which neutralizes the denominators on each side. That's why you need to get the LCD for everything across the board. So now that that's a straight, simple thing, the next thing we have to deal with is anything that is alongside the letter. And by that we mean a plus or minus something or other. In this case, it's a plus 72. So to neutralize that, we need to make it a plus 0. So subtract the 72 on both sides. Off 82 leaves 10. Now, to get rid of the coefficient that's still attached to the y, divide by that number. So now y is by itself, and 10 over the coefficient 2 leaves you with 5. So one more time. The highest, the least common denominator between 9 and 8 can be is 72. And I'm pretty sure that's actually what it's going to end up being. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72. That's times 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72. Nothing below that, so we make it 72. So here it matches on both sides. We needed 8 9s and 9 8s. So to resolve the numerical multiplication, 36. Multiply both sides by 72 to neutralize the denominators. This time we want to add 36 to counter the minus 36. So that turns 48 over on the right side. Divide both by 8 to get rid of the coefficient, and that leaves 6. Once you get the hang of it, it's really not that difficult. And that's all for math. There are also exam functions that, as a teacher or a parent, you can come up with your own kinds of tests here. There's also a built-in manual. Pretty cool, huh? There's a registration function because technically this is an unregistered shareware. And the last thing that we're going to check out is time. At level 1, we deal strictly with hours. At level 2, we step into quarters. 415. And quarters would inherently include the half. So you've got 15 minutes after, 30 minutes after, 15 minutes till. At level 3, I believe we step down to the 5-minute marks. So we're talking 05, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on and so forth. And you get both sides of it. The halfway mark is 30 minutes after. Although 30 minutes till would also be correct. Most people just say after. Level 4, all bets are off. You have minutes. Stands to reason, really, it's worth the most points too. Let's see if crossing the 100 will get us there. Oh. Whoops. Yeah, that is wrong. Wrong on the hour, too. and that is School Mom Plus, where I did a really good deal of my learning. And with that, I believe that's it for me for the night. So thanks for continuing to indulge my little kick here. And with tomorrow night's stream off due to other engagements on Kuro's side, I will probably be here again doing yet more stuff. I'll see you then. Good night.